Heyo. So, it's nearly the end of the month, just literally one more week left. I can't believe this is already the 5th NaNoWriMo stream too. I also didn't expect to get this far, but it's kind of nice. There are of course a few ideas which I didn't manage to get through in time, but you know what? That's okay. I'll probably develop them later on, like independently, on my own time. And at the end of the day, what's most important is that you try and write something down, whether it's just a paragraph or whether it's like 2,000 words, as long as you're trying to write consistently and exercise that like big brain of yours. Writing is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to, how do I put it? Sometimes it can feel like a chore, but you ultimately gotta remember why you're writing, whether it's to entertain others, to challenge yourself, that sort of thing. And don't lose sight of that goal. Anyways, let's get to it. So, I don't have too much time tonight, so I'm gonna try to do a piece of flash fiction instead. Flash fiction is a category that's around like 500 words, and it's typically pretty short. Usually provides like a description as well as like a twist towards the end. In this case, I'm going to try to keep this in dialogue and see what we can do with it. So let's give this a try. So always remember it, in order to create a good story, you need an interesting hook. So open up with that. Just adjust my audio a little bit. There we go. Okay. Da, da, da. What are you doing? So early. It's barely bright outside. So I can sleep. Da, da. I heard something. So yeah, the other restriction I'm putting myself is dialogue, because I found that to be my weakest part so far when making these short stories, especially with here. I didn't really get into the voice of the characters, and I promised I would fix that up later. Dialogue is, again, interesting because you can infer a lot from how it's spoken and what sort of words that they use. For instance, if we're using like a younger person's voice, they might use a lot of contractions and simple sentences. Sometimes they like to ramble a bit too. like, and then how to describe the sound? No. Okay, how to modify this. So kind of like how it goes straight into the action over here. I just have to be careful about how to plan this out. What would the mom say at this point? Something probably forgot was the window again. Let's see. I'm still doing pretty good on words, I think. Yeah, this is only 71. good name. At the end of my dream, little Monica saw a tentacle snake its way across the floor. Dot dot dot. There we go. In the dim light of her room, little Monica saw a swarm of tentacles emerge from the darkness beneath her bed. They floundered and squelched as they steadily consumed Monica's room. Then they closed her window with a gentle tap. And disappeared back under the bed like a bear returning to hibernation. Monica quietly stayed awake for the rest of the night. So I like this sentence because it matches up with this over here. And it kind of... Let's see. I wasn't too sure if to put this on at dusk or dawn. Okay, yeah, this makes more sense. There we go. As the dim rays of dawn passed through the window of her room, little Monica saw a swarm of tentacles emerge from the darkness beneath her bed. I like this because it contrasts that. They floundered and squelched as they steadily consumed Monica's room. Then they closed her window with a gentle tap and disappeared back into the bed like a bear returning to hibernation. Monica quietly stayed awake for the rest of the night. Okay, there we go. I kind of like these stories because it's a bit generic, not gonna lie. But I like it because it sort of flips how you imagined them in the first place. I remember doing a story like this before, but that's a story for another time. I think another story that does this really well too with the flipping of expectations is literally, well, not everything from the Twilight Zone, but majority of them do something similar. Especially in regards to the monsters are due on Maple Street. Maple Street, that's it. Sadly, it wasn't set in Canada, but the premise for that one was supposedly there are like power outages or weird occurrences happening in small town, and so the whole townsfolk get paranoid because they think that there's some sort of foreigner or invader or alien in their town. So when they try to call up a meeting, someone has a bit of a trigger finger and accidentally kills like an innocent townsfolk who happen to just be in the shadows. And this launches a whole cascade of events where paranoia essentially takes over the town. People start fighting. Meanwhile, the real aliens are just chilling in the back, and it's like, wow, I didn't expect things to go this well. I guess we just gotta keep repeating this in every small town until everyone's wiped out, eh? Yeah. Real just goes to show about how paranoia, stress, and the unknown can really twist people's perceptions. Can make ghosts that aren't really there and all that. Or, you know, mass hysteria. if everyone just like calmed down a little bit, called an emergency meeting and, you know, rationalized things out and didn't call out red, I think they would have been fine. Man, I really need to go back and watch Twilight Zone now. There's some pretty interesting episodes in there. Still need to watch stuff like Terror at 5,000 feet? It's the one with William Shatner in it, and there's like a ghoul on the outside and stuff like that. It's pretty hilarious. I know Jordan Peele brought it back for, I think, a season 2. So I'll have to go back and check that out. It's just very hard to do writing like that without getting exhausted. Black Mirror had that as well, where they sort of use technology to reveal, or not really reveal, but sort of flip people's expectations about, like, how people would use technology for one end, and then that technology backfires on them in a very spectacular way. White Christmas, I believe, did that pretty well, wherein oh, did the guy get his comeuppance? In a way that made sense. The thing about irony is that, or at least like, there's a certain term for this. It's a type of justice. It's not revenge though, but in White Christmas, the main comeuppance is that the criminal, and this is spoilers by the way, the main criminal reveals his secrets when it's revealed that he had a copy of himself made, and then that copy was put through intense interrogations until it finally fessed up about the murders. But then the other character in that, who's also a bad dude, his comeuppance is that he's just blocked by everyone, so he can't like he can't see people's faces anymore. It's like he has propagnosia, which is a condition where you literally can't recognize other people's features, so you have to rely on their clothes and stuff like that. I guess in a way that second guy's punishment is ironic because his whole job was to understand people, understand what makes them break and all that. So now that that has been taken away, he no longer is able to do his job or anything like that. I kind of feel like... Oh, no, the term is poetic justice, that's it. I feel like in order to do poetic justice correctly, though, you sort of need to use, like, the same tricks that the bad person used on them. So in that case, I don't think it was real poetic justice, just because the whole blocking feature wasn't something that that guy had made. It's still a little bit ironic, but I feel they kind of missed the mark on that. Now compare that to, like, Frieza's death at the end of the Namek art, right? Like, Frieza has his own move turned against him because he tries using, like, the saucer move, throws it at Goku, Goku dodges, it flies right back and literally cuts up Frieza. That would be poetic justice. What was I talking about? Yeah, like, shows that have that sort of exploration of technology are interesting, especially since those technologies may become viable or realized in the future, especially if we're talking about AI. We're not quite there yet, but it might be possible to see like really intelligent general artificial intelligence within our lifetime. I kind of want to see how well something like a large language model like ChatGPT could do with creative writing like this. I know it's a bit finicky right now, but it really depends on how well you find the prompts for that. If you make it too general, it's gonna give a general story, but with more specificity and more rules, you can start to craft something that's more interesting. That said, though, I'm pretty against using AI for that type of work. For one, they never did credit where they got their sources from. So that's a big no-no, academically wise. You should always cite your sources. In addition to that, there's always issues with, like, how do you put it? Veracity? Because they draw from so many sources, I'm not even sure if the model knows how to distinguish truth from fiction, you know? Anyways. So I think that's about it for this stream. Just short, simple, having an intro, having a twist. Yeah. Well, have a good night then.